What up, FIFA Tiers, and welcome to the Free Foot Tiers podcast. This is episode 21, if I remember rightly. So we're almost heading towards the halfway stage of a year, 26 weeks. Although, to be fair, we have missed a few weeks, so technically speaking, we're almost actually at the 6-month anniversary of the podcast.
Wow.
And obviously, as it's the podcast, we have my two co-hosts, Brad and Luke. How are you both doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah, doing fairly well.
Had a busy day, but other than that, yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a Sunday, so, you know, sometimes can be a lazy day, but for me, it's not a lazy day because I have to work on a Sunday. But obviously, it is Future Stars at the moment, and we've just had Team 2 come out recently, haven't we? And a mini release. Luke, what are we thinking about this?
Well, I've heard some criticism on this from. Well, I saw specifically a tweet from Nepenthez saying there's some high tier cards, and then there's a lot of low tier cards, in which that sums up practically every promo.
Every promo, yep.
Where he's getting stuff out from, but I didn't see any outlying proper stinky cards. Although there was some controversy of. Let's start off with the controversial one: Patson Daka. Anyone who took his winter wild cards,
yeah,
I don't feel for you in the slightest because I don't. I didn't like having 3-star skills on it, but this one's got an upgrade. At least you've now got good fodder. That's what you got. You got some good fodder sitting there of an 87. I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean that's if you manage to pack, I suppose, his newest card, but.
His newest card's I think 180, so it's not outrageously priced.
Yeah,
and it does look like an insanely good card.
Yes, I agree.
As far as I can see, the only downside being that he's from Gambia, but that does link him to, as I've seen in a recent video, it does link him to a certain Rangers striker that's in.
I did see the same video. Yes, indeed.
Yes,
very nice links. Fair play.
Incredibly nice links. But yeah, going through a couple of these, Brian Hill, that card looks alright as a left winger in La Liga. You've got Gravenberch as one of the big hitters. I mean, was I expecting him to be that sort of price? Yes, 800k for his 86 was already nutty for some people. Yep. So the 92, you expect that to go up to that kind of ceiling. But what else have we got in here? We've got Nunez being one of the cheaper ones, but that's still a very nice card. Raspadori, he's obviously got the SBC, but this had been leaked for a while that this card existed. It's a juiced up version, but it's a nice cheap striker for the Serie A. Nice little perfect link to Berardi if you want to just quickly hybrid in and out. I'm a fan of someone like Adams, personally.
Yeah, it looks nice.
I like having a good replacement for that Zachariah that's just gone to Serie A and my headliners no longer works. Casaret, that links to your, if you did him, your Houssam Aouars and the likes, obviously Denny Mbappe's, etc. Very true, yes. Or just any French player.
Yeah.
Salisu. Obviously Ghana's not exactly what you'd call a powerhouse most years, but I know last year they had some pretty good cards, and they've obviously got Achiampong this year. With SEN, so you got some nice options emerging with that. Obviously Premier League as well. Premier League's good. 80 pace. Maybe this is one of the ones people would moan about. Just 81 pace on a centre back, but that's still good at this point. Ibanez, a card I liked his non-rare was good. Miranda, Kabore, Burkina Faso, but also actually gets a strong link to Rip Art if anyone remembers that card.
Yeah.
So that could even see use. 96 pace right back. It's not. I mean, with the price that Hakimi is now, it's not going to really most likely see that much use. But it's a niche card. You might see people try it out from time to time. But I think it's a nice, well-rounded team. And then we've got some other cards which I think Brand's going to touch on in a second that have come out. Obviously. Yes. The only 3 other outliers being the mini release, being the alternate versions of Elmas, Ferran Torres, and Tomiyasu. So many people are excited to see that centre back Tomiyasu. A lot of people sold their teams at certain points expecting Tomiyasu. They sold certain centre backs last week. But I am a fan of this Ferran Torres. I liked Ferran Torres way back at the start of FIFA, so the fact he's got a special right wing, I look forward to using that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that Tomiyasu is the only centre back with 5-star weak foot.
Yep. He was already that, to be fair. He was
That as his normal card, and now he's got a usable card that is 5-star weak foot. And generally, I think I always like seeing when someone's got good defensive stats, so 82 pace, 87 defending, 89 physical. He's then also got 81 dribbling, which I actually really like on a defender, just because sometimes when you just need that kind of turn in a circle to just play it out to your right back or your right wingers or whatever, I quite like that. Like, he doesn't feel like he's going to turn like a bus to do that pass, and you're not under panic if someone's got constant pressure on you or anything like that. So I quite like the look of this card. I think it would be one that I'd like to try out, and he's very affordable at 97k. So yeah, I think that'd be good. Yeah.
And also he has incredible stamina as well at 92. So like, if you're playing FUT champs, I find like my centre backs, like I'm using Rudiger and Blanc, and they've got reasonably good stamina. But I find if I'm playing FUT champs and having to go into extra time, stuff like that, and someone brings on a fresh pair of legs, they do tend to like struggle a bit, like trying to keep up with like the fresh leg, like 99 pace players. Whereas I think 92 stamina, Tomiyasu easily be able to last full game, and means that I wouldn't panic so much if I'm having to go into that extra time so much. I'm thinking, do I need to sub off a centre back potentially?
Well, surely your favourite thing about this card is that he's 6'2".
Oh, I thought it was an Arsenal player.
Of course. Well, that would be the key thing. It's an Arsenal player. So
I thought you liked packing Tottenham players.
Well, no, that's how it seems to work with this game. You put your favourite team, and then it gives you the main rival for that team, predominantly from packs.
I've got so many Arsenal players this year, it's unreal. So I am expecting that I'm going to pack this Tomiyasu.
I would have to go into my club and just check how many Ipswich players I've got. I don't think it's many.
Sorry, are you back to being a Norwich fan this week? I thought they were Norwich's rivals.
I thought you were Chelsea last.
No, I'm only a Chelsea fan when it makes a difference to a series. Yeah. And actually, I really liked Man City's performance this week, so I'll probably be Man City fan.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, we have to wait and see what the rules are going to be like in that series, this week. Yeah. But yeah, that's obviously one of the ideal cards I'm probably going to try out the most. Is Tomiyasu, probably in FUT champs next weekend. I did pack Croquette. How have you pronounced his name?
Potato, aren't they?
Casserat, yeah. It might be. Sounds like a potato.
Croquette, yeah.
But doesn't look like a potato. Probably try him out. I do actually kind of like to want to maybe try out that Nunez card, because as you say, it's like a cheap beast. That's the weird thing about the Liga NOS, is how many decent cards they have got in that league this year.
Yeah.
But they're all so incredibly cheap. Like, nobody seems to want to be picking them up and building a Liga NOS team. Like, how much money you could save by just building a Liga NOS team rather than going for like a Prem team and Prem tax or something like that instead.
That's exactly what I've done all year round, pretty much.
But Brad, what about the SBCs side and swap side of things?
Well, so going to SBCs first, I'll cover swaps. Like, it's quite in depth, obviously, about the swaps, and I think looking at it, I think Luke will have more to say on that, because I think a lot of people took the packs there from what I've seen. But we'll start off with the talent scout winner. Obviously, in the first team, we had a very what we deemed as in our podcast as fairly unusable looking card. Didn't look impressive for the price. Whereas this time we've got this Llewellyn card, right winger. Now, the only thing is here, if anybody did Baku, now they're a little bit different because Baku's got better defensive stats. But if anyone did that card for free and are potentially using a Bundesliga team or have a Bundesliga team, then they probably won't then want to go and sink their fodder and wait, kind of upgrade to this card because it's an 85 with a team, an 83 with a team of the week. So he's cheap. Let's see what he's coming in at Footbit as at the moment. Other FIFA SBC sites are available. 123k. So that compared to what is a free player, depending on how you value your time. He does look very good, though. He is definitely usable compared to what was it? It was a Brazilian guy. I can't remember his name. Not João Pedro, because that was the one that came out.
Cabral, wasn't it?
Cabral, that's it. Yeah, Cabral. He's got 4-star skill moves, 3-star weak foot. He has got medium, but generally, if you look at his green stats, especially around the shooting, attacking, positioning, 90, finishing 90, shot power 90. He looks like a very nice card, and yeah, I think for the price, he actually does look a lot better, than that card did look. Then you've got some interesting cards in terms of, I mean, we always see French cards in SBCs and in promos, and they've got another one in William Saliba, who looks like a potential contender to maybe knock Kimpembe out of some people's teams, if people are brave enough to do that. I mean, I've just done it, but I've done it in a different way. I packed Twanzebe's winter wildcards in my whatever that
the party bag,
the party bag kind of pick thing, the SBC thing, where you could got a winter wildcard, the Future Stars Team 1, or what was the other promo in there?
Future Stars Team 1, it was nominees, honourable mentions.
That's it, honourable mentions, yeah. So this card looks really good as well. How tall is he? Just for Mers, he's 6'4", Mers. You probably like this card.
And he's on loan from Arsenal. This has got Mersgoth written all over it.
Yeah.
It is a card on the agenda
and it perfect links to another ex-Arsenal player, Guendouzi.
Yeah, who's apparently meant to be getting a card.
I've heard that
well.
rumour.
Well,
I don't normally like to mention leaks.
Even if he doesn't, and it's not an official leak, anyway. He has a very, very good card, which up until recently I was seeing in a lot of series about talking about him being still around the 400k mark. I've just seen that he's actually in the top popular players on Footbin, and is now down to 266, which makes him a lot more affordable. Now I guess he's there because people have maybe heard such rumours about maybe a different card, and are trying to get rid of this one quickly, which is why his price has gone down. But
Since
I definitely.
He's dropped 100k, pretty much.
He's dropped 100k. Yeah,
it's recovering, but it dropped about 100k.
So he looks. We know that Guendouzi is good. This card looks very good as well, as a perfect link, like you say. And there's plenty of French players if you want to build a team around him. They do look very good. The one that interests me the most, and I'd like to get Luke's take on this because he's a Tottenham player, is Tanganga. Now I have considered doing this card. Mainly because I've got a tradable Semedo at right back at the moment, the winter wildcard. And in comparison, I think Tanganga just looks a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, the only concern is, high work rates on a fullback, which might scare off a few people if they look that deep into those sort of things. But statistically, it does look really good. The man's 5'11", which is okay for a right back. If this said centre back, Mers would be saying, get away from it. I don't care if it says 92 pace. It's 5'11". That's the very, very limit of what he'll attempt to use. So next time in a squad building series, he's absolutely getting someone who's like 5'10" or lower.
Wow.
See, the thing is,
I'm
looking at there on my Nelson Semedo. So Nelson Semedo is 87 dribbling, and has less passing, but he has 4-star skill moves. Now, to me, am I really worried about skill moves on fullbacks?
Even I'm not too fussed about skill moves on fullbacks. Midfielders, attackers, yes.
Yeah, and if you're playing a 5-back, and
Like
and Semedo was turning into a right winger, then maybe you would.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Semedo's a medium maybe makes him slightly more favourable, because you won't see him burning up and down the pitch like you might with Tanganga. But yeah, I'm toyed at the moment. I am literally toyed between whether I'm going to complete this right back and get rid of Semedo, because I get 56k back for Semedo, so then I've just got 70k to get this right back Tanganga, which looks, you know, if this was a card on the market, it definitely wouldn't be 70k. Being English from the Prem, I think it'd probably be about 150k. Probably his SBC price around that, I think, on the market.
Yeah.
Not far off.
That seemed about right. Just need to look at Kyle Walker roughly.
Well, I was about to say, Kyle Walker's the exact replica, and he is about, if I remember, 70k at one point.
Yeah.
And now he's 85. So how much? And let's just do a quick comparison actually between these two, so we can get a quick breakdown. So of the two, Walker is quicker. He's got better shooting, 2 less passing, 3 less physical as Walker, 3 less defending, and 2 less dribbling. So it's a marginally better card, but more in-game stats go Walker's way.
Right.
But I think shooting does do a bit of that.
And he's high as well?
Walker's work rates are also high, yes.
Yeah.
Same as anything else interesting. Oh, he is 6 foot. Mers, you might consider.
What's that?
Walker's 6 foot.
The Walker, yeah.
I
mean, it's fullback. Like I say,
they do come under threat. To be fair, though, although actually Tanganga's got 97, I think it is, jumping. So he does have that backing it up. It's not like he's got 6.
Using Kieran Tierney, by the way, who's 5'10", so, and Kiwi is 5'11", so yeah, fullbacks it doesn't matter. It's the centre backs, you know. That's where my height is my issue.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is when I play back post headers, sorted.
So the only thing really that Walker's missing is he's got 2-star weak foot, I suppose.
Yeah, that would be the nitpick sort of stuff. Is 2-star weak foot is not preferable. 2-star skills on Tanganga. Let's be honest, you're not
really important, is it? Yeah.
I know someone who would, and that's my brother, who always used to say, "You got value shooting in your right back," and he'd also try and probably do skills with his right back if he ever bothered learning. Outside of that,
do you think it's a shame that they've not offered like this a different variation in terms of like doing a right back and then a centre back version?
No. I do like this option. It's the 2 main positions I'd say that I consider he's played in recent years. He's played all 3, but he has been originally, I think, as a left back. This year they've been trying to get him more as a right back because that's a problem area. But I don't want to dive into Tottenham problems right now.
Well, we'll do that in This Week in Football.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I would say this is just basically similar to Diego Dalot.
Yeah, it was last year.
Where he had the right back, left back.
But then people would argue that was on the market. At least you could get both versions.
But
this card, I mean, Spurs don't have a good right back card outside of this. The only other one is Emerson Royale, and that's the normal base card. So for me, it was a no-brainer to pick him as a right back.
And last year, I like they had Doherty on the right, which is the Moments SBC, which was a nice card. But yeah, before I go on to the other SBC player we're going to talk about, I'll go on to the objectives. So there are 2 new objectives players, and also it's very, very different how EA have structured being able to achieve these cards. So first of all, we've got Chukwueze or Chukwueze. If anyone can properly pronounce that, please drop it in the comments on YouTube or tell us over on Twitter. This guy, I mean, he looks brilliant. He's Nigerian. He's got loads of good links in the game this year. There's loads of great Nigerian cards. I don't know what his weak foot and skill moves are. Let's have a look.
4-star, 4-star. It was 4-star, 2-star previously.
Right, so they've massive upgrade on his weak foot then. 2 stars. And he's a left-footed player on the right-hand side. He looks good. He's got high attack and low defending, probably what you'd want out of a right winger. And yeah, has some lovely nice links, Osimhen, but
Indeed.
there's also a Tobo if you did that card. There's loads of
There's
good.
the free Premier League ones.
Yes.
In that vein, there's also JJ for a strong link as well. Bit of JJ Kocher.
Then the other one was this Guri from Nice, who looks again very nice. The only problem with him looks to be, well, not a lot. I don't know actually. There's
nothing. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with it.
I think you can't when you look at him. He's got great work rates. He's 5'11", so he's in that mid range. He's not the short dribbly player. He's not the tall, blocky moving kind of player. 4-star, so you can't complain about that. Especially given, once again, this is a free card. Probably one of the best free cards I think we've seen so far in terms of promos. And his finishing stats are just insane. Like 93 positioning, 93 finishing, 90 shot power, 91 long shots. I'd be very surprised if this guy isn't seen in a lot of teams, weekend league rivals, etc. But what happens apparently now when you play with these or do these objectives is that if you're doing Guri, you come up against players that aren't doing Guri, is what I understand. And
so
if you do Chukwueze, you come up against people that aren't doing this objective. So it's kind of similar on Managerial Masterpiece anyway, because if there's other objectives that were going on, you could always come up against others at the same time. But they've made it very specific to this one, haven't they?
So yeah, it's a pain because apparently a lot of people weren't really doing Chukwueze, which meant that you're spending ages trying to find a match. So it was almost like, because this, I think people are doing golden goal as well. So you basically spend more time searching for a match than actually playing the match itself. Which obviously is not a great thing. Yeah,
because I mean, it looks like they'll take 10 matches, but obviously that's provided you manage to score an out-of-the-box goal in the games, you manage to do all the other things as well. But yeah, technically it's 10 games, but like you say, everyone looking at the Ligue 1 card will think, yeah, I'm doing this. So they'll go into live FUT friendly Ligue 1 liaisons and play against people doing the same objective. That encourages as well people that are, let's say, friendly to maybe move their goalkeeper aside. You then think, oh, okay, I'll let them do that. We'll go through, get these objectives done together, and then that's it. Like, that does happen, not very frequently, but like you say, if you then want to go and do Chukwueze, you might be waiting a long time for this, because some people that don't play the game all the time won't necessarily get around to doing this card, or this guy won't fit in their team. So the less likelihood of people doing him than they will be for Guri. Whereas at least for Guri, if you did it on the other ways that objectives used to work, you could come up against people doing any of the objectives, and yeah, it meant that you could still grind towards your card regardless, which is a shame. I get why they've done it. It's because they just want, like, if you play an objective game and you're playing against somebody who's doing a different objective where there's been other special cards in that league and they are boosted, say like your Silver Stars cards that are from certain leagues, if they've got more of, or they've got SBC cards like, say for instance, Dini or someone like that that are 74 rated, that they can then put higher rated cards in. I get it does make a difference because you're playing your 74 rated silver card against what is essentially more likely an 82, 83 rated card, and that's what they're trying to stop, I suppose, or to make it fairer. But it is, like you say, if you are waiting for games, it is gonna be a bit frustrating. The next one, though, that we want to touch on, SBC, which is going away from Future Stars before we get to Swaps, because Swaps has a little bit more to talk about, is the new, just come out this evening, so we are recording on a Sunday this time, Flashback Neymar. Now, I don't know what you guys think looking at this card. I know, Mers, you've already said to us that you're not really into using the meta cards on this, and boy, does this card look meta.
Yep.
He's very, very nicely priced. I've already done half of him, and I plan to complete the other half very shortly. 264k for what looks like a player that's only just dropped 1 star on his weak foot and actually looks better in terms of shooting stats than his gold card.
Well, that's the other problem is because of a lot of people probably packed his normal card, like maybe untradeable. To those people, it's not worth necessarily doing
lucky
this
them.
card.
Well,
My pack luck definitely has not been that good this year.
he's the 90 plus I haven't packed this year. It's such a damn shame.
Yeah, I mean, I've only my only 90 plus I have packed is Ronaldo this year. I think, yeah, this SBC, given the price, I expect. Well, when I saw, because obviously this has been leaked for ages, so if everyone is, don't look on social media and don't see these things, this card has been leaked for at least 2 weeks. That this SBC was on the horizon, and even to the point where they had the exact stats up. The only thing that we didn't know was whether they were going to keep the 5-star. They haven't. They've dropped it to 4-star weak foot. However, he has 4 more pace, he has 2 more shooting, and he has only 1 less dribbling. The difference that is lost is passing stats. Now, I think that isn't going to matter, because I unfortunately think you're going to see this guy at striker. In every team that you'll come up against, whether they start him at left wing and then he plays as a front 2, which I think is probably most likely, you're going to see him as striker for most teams. And I think I'm looking forward to using him, because I really like to flashback Ronaldo, and actually that had quite a significant downgrade in stats.
Same rating, 87.
Yeah, and but like the flashbacks this year almost seem boosted, don't they, compared to that Ronaldo? Do you think?
I think the flashback quality this year has definitely
been better, hasn't it?
Better.
Like, look at Benzema.
Yeah.
That was crazy how much better the 86 Benzema flashback card is. And again, you saw him in every team when that first come out. I think this looks insane. I think for 264k, especially given the fact that people are now going to be able to get fodder from their swap packs, which leads me nicely on to swaps. Yeah, pretty much. Most of the tokens must be out now, if not nearly all of them. You can, if you are able to find yourselves some discipline, save them all to get your Future Stars Team 1 player pick at 25, or you can go for packs like I have. So I did my, and I know you did as well, Mers. I did the 85 times 10. I got 2 Future Stars, and I also did my Ultimate pack, which I opened tonight, and I only got Ramos, which isn't the greatest, considering that Future Stars seem easier to pack than other SBCs this year so far. But someone that might be able to shed some light on some of the players available here, Frimpong and Gallagher, would be Luke. I believe you've done Frimpong, or you're doing Frimpong?
I will probably be doing Frimpong. I'd like to touch quickly on that Neymar before, though, since we jumped over it. He actually has some hidden upgrades in there as well, such as +6 on his balance. So even though the dribbling's worse, he should feel even better in game. His agility's higher than the
I did see that. Yeah, his agility and balance was higher, wasn't it? Yeah.
And he's... It looks like a menace of a card. 90 stamina is always nice. It's an upgrade on his 81 stamina on the main as well, so it's gonna be less likely to be subbed off as well. But
the only thing is that I have noticed. Sorry, just on that last bit as well, though. Like I say, people playing him at striker, his composure has gone down from 93 to 85. So that'll be interesting to see whether he's a bottler. But other than that, yeah, he looks incredible.
That badge says PSG, so you can always count on it, same as you can count on Tottenham. But to touch on Frimpong, I personally, because it's me, I'm looking at the midfield version, but I think most people will be eyeing up the right back version instead.
Right back, yeah.
96 pace on the right back. There's not many good right back options in the Bundesliga. Is what you've got about 3 at the moment before Frimpong. You got Mbabu.
I know of Mbabu and Mukulele, but Mukulele's past
way behind the curve.
Yeah, like they're not good options. There's Mbabu, who's an incredibly good option, but Frimpong looks fairly well rounded. The right mid though, is right up my alley. It's 4-star. Basically, this is the upgrade on Baku. The right wing, that's the SBC from earlier. I wouldn't even consider comparing that to not to Mbabu. You wouldn't compare it to him either. To Baku, because Baku, the free card, is a 3-star skiller who can't really shoot, but it's more of a 3-back, like 3-5-2. You want him as a defensive option there.
Yeah.
That right winger is very attacking, very much in your face. He might fit my 3-5-2, but not most people's 3-5-2s. This Frimpong, however, seems to be the perfect combo of both of them to me. Solid shooting stats, good pace, good dribbling, 4-star skills, 74 defending. It's the version that I will absolutely be backing myself with on my main account. High medium work rate, so he will get forward. Let's look into some of the individual stats though. On the shooting side, he's got 92 positioning, 85 finishing, 84 shot power, which they're what I value in shooting personally. I always said this is the finishing and shot power. Everything after that becomes a little bit more of an afterthought. Obviously, you want decent positioning, but good agility and balance at 94 each. Solid enough composure at 82, but 96 stamina as well. So he will be. He will not be running out on fumes, which is always good as well.
He should go to the end, shouldn't he?
He really, really should. But as for Gallagher, 89 rated, and he's got 4-star, 3-star. I think a lot of people had hoped he'd have got 4-star, 4-star, but he has already gone up +2 on the weak foot, so you can't ask for everything.
No.
Obviously 6 foot, he's going to be a decent player in the midfield. Not the best jumping, but he'll be okay. But apart from that, he looks very well rounded. Club 80, Hullet gang stats, green in pretty much everything. Actually, no, green in everything, I should say. The only thing he doesn't look to be is the biggest aerial threat with 72 and 72 on heading accuracy and jumping.
Yeah,
it looks like a solid complete card, but whether that's worth not taking packs for or not taking a very good right back, I don't know.
I think looking at this, I think looking at this, if I was going to consider this card, the only thing that concerns me is the 80 agility and the 82 balance. I just wonder whether because of his height and that you might do this and then suddenly feel that he is a bit sluggish, and then you'd be disappointed, wouldn't you? I think.
Well, when you look at the role that you want him in, if you're after a strong link to, well, I was thinking if you want a strong link to Edouard, you got Kante for that.
Yep.
And you've got other English options as well. So it's a solid but not spectacular card.
Yeah.
Is that worth however many tokens you have to throw in? Which 20. I think is about
it's 20 compared to like. I mean, I know they're completely different leagues and everything, but 20 compared to what you look at the stats of the midfield of Frimpong, that's 8 tokens. There's 12 tokens difference. That's
it's a prem tax.
It's prem tax. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
But that 12, but also those 12 tokens get you the Future Stars Team 1 pack, which I know is a risk anyway. But I just think for that, I'm going to be more tempted to go for a pack and have Frimpong than I am to just go for Gallagher. Looking at, I think the card deserved better, or should have just been a little bit better.
I think that card would have been fine to release to the general.
That should have just been in the packs.
They would have replaced him with who would, for about 20 tokens. Which future star would you chuck in? It's not Q&A question, but it's the equivalent of.
Which one of them do I think would be 20?
Which player from future stars would you replace Gallagher with as the one available via the tokens?
I think if I was EA, I'd just go and put Daka in there just for
I knew that was the one. I started looking at it and went, yeah, that's a prime candidate right there.
Just for the banter, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Smith Rowe could have been maybe an alternative.
Maybe.
Given his price, maybe he's a little bit high, but yeah, you look at, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but you got to consider the tokens, like, it's a lot of tokens.
You want something appealing, but not something completely worthless. At the same time. You don't want it to be too good, but you don't want it to be.
Yeah.
Maybe what they could have done, let's do a 3-way move. Maybe they could have made the 20 tokens being Guri, because
Yeah.
And I'm not going to complain. He does look incredible, but given that he's free, that surprises me. Put him in as the 20 token player, and then put like Elmas or Salisu or Adams as the other objective player, because although they're very good cards, they're more like what you see for getting a free card for objectives.
My one I was looking at was also an expensive one, and that was Gravenberch.
I was
seeing a very expensive Gravenberch card.
Yeah.
You've already got the one that's on the market for the 86. It's one of those ones that if you want to upgrade it, you can put in the work rather than just buying it straight off the market for now, just shy of 800k.
Yeah.
It would have been one of those ones that people would have actually been, I actually have to think whether I want to take this or whether I want to go for the 85 times 10. It would get a couple people to maybe think about it. The fact it's an off league, maybe less so much, but it's still got a lot of support this year.
And even if they wanted to do it so that, like, say, because let's look at Gravenberch is a massive upgrade to Gallagher, because he is, let's just, like, there's no two ways about it. They could have actually just made it so that, like, the Future Stars Team 1 player pick was 20 tokens and actually Gravenberch was the 25, because he's the 92 rated beast. Like, there's little tweaks or little ways they could have done this where I would have thought, these match up better, whereas I think actually 20 tokens is a bit extortionate for Gallagher, especially given that, like, some of these tokens, obviously a lot of these tokens come from SBCs, so if you put a cost on those SBCs, don't get me wrong, not a lot of them were expensive, but some of them were 80 rated, but you put a cost on those, plus you put a cost on the pack that we had to open to get one. I just think, actually, would Gallagher be worth this much given look at that? Probably not.
Well, I've just had a look into it a little bit more, and the in-game stat difference between Gallagher and Gravenberch is only 27.
But that's got to be because at one point, I'm guessing Gallagher smashes him on one of his stats, does he?
Well, on the face card stats, you've got Gravenberch is better or equal in everything. He's got 5 more on the base card stats for pace, same shooting, 2 more passing, 3 more physical, 4 more defending, and 3 more dribbling. He mainly beats him out, I think, on penalties, which is, of course, funny. That's, of course, the stat that pulls about 14 back. But that and free kick accuracy are basically what do it. He only beats him on like those as major ones. And aggression. They're the big ones involved.
Yeah,
and thinking
so
about
the only other thing that changed it is the 4-star, and then the outside of the foot shot, flare, and
what I'd say about your suggestion of the whole idea of putting Gravenberch in as the tokens, because of that Frimpong being there, if we rework the cost of it so that you could get the right back version of Frimpong and Gravenberch for the 28 tokens, that would also look tempting.
Yeah, because they link
for people. Yeah.
But you know, we don't get paid the big money. The guy from Birmingham does.
No. Exactly. The guy from Birmingham has released a mini update this week.
Yeah, he has.
Talking of the guy from Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yes. So
he's got a lot of transfer for this week.
Yeah, to quickly touch on it, because it's only to change one thing within the gameplay, which is the interceptions. So obviously a lot of the situation was they improved the interceptions, but what was happening is your players were still trying to get that interception, but it's bouncing off of them either back to the opposition player or out of play, or just basically going somewhere else other than your actual player's foot. So now it seems to be a case of now the player will actively try and stop the ball and have control of not necessarily have control of it, but basically essentially win that possession back, which has made interceptions a lot more overpowered now. I've found, like, playing FUT champs is like literally a case of if someone did intercept it, that was it. That was pretty much the attack dead, whereas before you could at least try and get the ball back and then continue on with the attack, whereas I feel now it's very much like there you go. Interception done. They're on the attack now. I don't know if you guys have witnessed like these interception changes.
Well, I mean, I noticed the thing. I haven't noticed this change in the mini release yet because I haven't played it. But obviously we identified straight away, didn't we, when we said about them nerfing the hard pass was, well, it's not going to actually be nerfed because all it's going to do is smack into the players in the way of it and come back to us, which is exactly what it was doing. So they had to do something. I'm looking forward to seeing it as I do try and attempt to complete FUT Champs within 5 hours tonight.
What about you, Luke? Have you?
I've not really played.
anything?
I've had issues with with batteries in my controllers. I've got to save them for certain series because they are on their last legs at the moment as my charger broke. So I've not really had to. That's why I've not really been uploading reviews of the Future Stars players this week. It's kind of that horrible situation where I can't do too much. It's also why I missed out on the squad battles bloody objective player. I missed out on the squad battles guy. That hurt.
The token basically.
I didn't. If I'd have done it earlier in the week, I'd have been alright. But I got gold. No, I got silver 2, I think.
And the guy from Birmingham decided to do something else, obviously, with EA servers. So there was a bit of a situation on Thursday with Div Rival rewards. So apparently if you on the companion app, or I don't quite fully understand what the full depth of this was, but it was something like if you tried to play a match, you had to claim rewards. Then you go into game, then suddenly you have to claim rewards again. So
so you could essentially refresh it.
Yes, so you could claim unlimited amount of rewards. EA were like, guys, you've been very naughty. How dare you claim too many rewards? You are essentially cheating, so we're going to have to punish you guys. So like anyone who has done it, because it is considered exploit in some ways. Even though it's EA's mistake, it is an exploit. It's something to gain an advantage over everybody else in the player base, because obviously if you did because apparently someone redeemed it 1,000 times,
that's a lot of time to be sat there doing that.
So if they opened up all their packs, that could potentially be a lot of money, so they could basically build a god squad. So yeah, in some ways it is an exploit, it is an advantage over everybody else. So EA are giving out the same ban as people that were doing the no loss glitch, where it's a 7-day ban if they deem that you have taken advantage of it too much. I think apparently they're assessing it person by person. So if it looks like you accidentally done it, so you've done it twice or something like that, then they're going to probably just be like, yeah, fine, whatever, move on. But apparently if you've done it way too many times, that's when you're going to get the ban. But a 7-day ban?
It's not just a 7-day ban, is it? Transfer market as well.
It? Oh, they're getting that as well.
Yeah,
okay.
so they get a 7-day ban. They got a transfer market ban as well.
I mean, do you think that's harsh, or do you think that's fair? That's the question.
I'll let Luke go first because I've already kind of touched on this and got a little bit of, well, not backlash, but yeah.
So for me, they did do something. I believe it's in their terms of service. They address that sort of situations like this. If you do exploit the situation, they will have the right to ban you. It's something they specifically address, and it's like, well, when they put it that way, you have broken terms of service. They kind of do hold the right now to do that. Whether I agree with it or not, it is in the terms of service right there. Not really much defense for anything like that.
So do you agree with it?
Based off of what's in terms of service, yes. Like you broke the terms of service. Fairly simple.
And
I would agree with that, to be fair. But what about you?
So my point was, and I think like I get where people were coming from that did respond to me and say that, but it's like, what about all these people that exploited it, and then all the people that didn't, that then lose out because some people that did exploit it get thousands of coins. I'm not saying that action shouldn't have been taken. I'm just saying I feel like the action that they're taking is maybe just a little bit harsh, given it's another EA error. Like, we have had too many for this year. And the problem is that we identified this year is quite clearly they're out to make money, because they have put out more promos than ever, and it doesn't seem like we're going to get many breaks in between promos because they know that it's their last year, as we'll know it as FIFA 22 or whatever they might go on to. Probably isn't going to stop people buying the game, because even if they call it, you know, Ultimate Team FIFA, people are still going to know it's the same game, it's the same format, everything's the same, so people are going to still go and buy the game and spend money anyway. But they do know that they're probably going to have a bit more competition, that it's not going to have the same maybe gumption that FIFA has. But what I find with it is, like, so the Eduard situation in the party bag thing, they're only going to give back people that got Eduard as a player pick. Now, I've seen a lot of arguments back for that, saying that we'll have an Eduard in that player pick lessens the odds on someone getting anybody else that they wanted in that thing, which is true. So technically you should be refunding everybody that did that SBC and giving everybody another crack. Also, and Luke was beneficiary of this as well, they messed up on the icon swaps. Mid or prime, was it mid or prime?
Base, middle, prime.
Base, middle, prime, wasn't it? Icon, and didn't put primes in. Everyone that did that SBC then got a free go at another icon, and some people did pack some seriously good icons in both picks. So I think that, like, when they make an error like that doesn't cost them anything, because this is essentially what it comes down to, because they are both untradeable SBC players, they seem like, oh, we're okay, we'll do that. But when it comes to something where they're like, no, these people have made coins, have made money out of us, and it's going to prevent some of these people, because they've now got millions of coins, from spending more money with us, then they seem quick to ban them. And to me, that just screams about how much about the money it is. And yeah, I don't know. That's the only side of it that I just think, I'm not sure that sits right with me. But yeah, I get it. Like you say, if it's in the terms of service, don't get me wrong, none of us read it. Who's going to read? I don't read terms and conditions on most things that I enter into, if I'm honest. But if it's in there in the rules, they have the reason to do it. I get that they don't want people to exploit it, and yeah, I understand. I just think, I don't know. I just don't like them as a company.
It was similar to last year with the web app, when they had left access open to the back door, basically, so you could give yourself like free FIFA points and coins and stuff like that. Yeah, it is. EA do seem to love making mistakes, but I feel I made this point on the stream. I feel a lot of big companies make mistakes, like Tesco's, for instance, in terms of the pricing of the products and stuff. Like, it happens on a weekly basis type thing, but I feel because it's like it's the supermarket, you don't really pay attention to it, whereas I feel with EA, everyone is got their eyes on this all the time, and will tweet about it and every little damn mistake they made. But it happens. I will come to the defense a little bit, like, they make mistakes, but I feel like the way they handle the mistakes can be a little bit better. I do feel, yes, they probably would. It's a very difficult situation, because it's very hard, because if people have opened up the packs and they've already put the coins onto the market, you can't really just take it off of people, because it would affect so many people. And transfer ban, maybe not necessarily a permanent transfer ban, maybe just like limit it to an X amount of time perhaps instead, so that it gives more time for it to not affect the market. Because that's the other thing, it would affect the market, it would affect multiple things. It would affect the market because obviously mass amount of packs being opened. It would affect the prices of the promo players. So maybe just put like a month, 2 month ban or something like that for the transfer market, so that it doesn't affect the market straight off the bat. If it's in the terms of service, obviously EA have got to do something about it.
The transfer market ban one is out of all of it, is the one that is the most crippling, isn't it? Because basically it means that they can't buy any more players for the rest of FIFA. So
they
essentially
then loaded their account with millions of coins. In that case, in the severe cases where this matters, where they're actually doing this, it's people who've now got 7 million from out. I know someone got 7 million coins plus a bunch of packs from doing this. Yeah. So then they've suddenly got 7 million out of nowhere. They're being punished and they can't spend their 7 million.
Yeah. But when then that to me, like, isn't as good as if they just wiped their account of the coins.
I mean, they could have wiped the coins, I guess. I mean, I think they have done those sort of things in the past.
Yeah, I had it done to me when they thought I
FIFAs.
was doing something I wasn't. So I know it can be done. And I had to like appeal to get my coins back, which thankfully I did. It only took like a week or so, but even still, like that to me is a far more fitting punishment than saying, well, what we're going to do is go, haha, you got 7 million coins and we're going to let them sit there and you're not going to be able to use them because you can't buy any players.
Well, they don't just have to sit there. They can open 100k pack lightning rounds unlimited amount of times. If they want their packs so much, they can do it that way.
That's it. That's why I say maybe like a time-framed transfer ban would make more sense, because then if they're thinking to themselves, oh look, there's this SBC player but I've got no fodder, it would encourage them to spend their coins, and then by the time the transfer ban is done and dusted, they'll either probably spent their coins on packs.
Do you think as well that EA have a way of nerfing their accounts? The same as people believe that other people are red listed?
I think it might be a myth, that sort of situation. Yeah. I don't know, because it'd be very hard for them to control.
I'm in agreement on that. I don't think when people talk about red listing, I think that's just someone seems to be constantly a little bit more luckier, but it's not actually a thing really. Let's be honest.
Just people being salty that they don't get as much luck as someone else.
Pretty much. It's like if I moaned that you'd got a team of the year every other year until this year, and now suddenly I'm the one that's got a team of the year. I'm not suddenly red listed.
Yeah.
It's just that's how the cookie crumbled that year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all statistics
and, it might be
and sort of jackpots and lotteries. It's pretty much all down that sort of route. So it's just who hits said jackpot that time and how many times.
Yeah.
And it might be about an algorithm as well. If you hit the algorithm at the right point to hit like that decent pack, because it's not going to be, oh well, we'll sign this IP address, all these packs. We'll sign this IP address, all these packs. It's just literally a case of there's probably an algorithm that says like at this particular second, at this particular hour, or this particular day, we will give out this particular player, and whoever opened it up at that particular time, it's probably the person that gets that luck, basically.
Yeah, and I think that definitely happens, because I've seen enough videos now of other people doing player picks and things where during certain times, or certainly in the first hour, they're a lot more meta than they are when they've been out for a few hours.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We as we know with FIFA, there's always going to be mistakes, but the one thing I don't think they can ever make a mistake with is Team of the Week.
I was going to do a different way of transitioning it, but that works as well. I was going to say going from this week in FIFA, we go to this week in football, but we do
like both.
Both work. But yeah, not the best week for me. It's been a bit of a nightmare week for Tottenham, but having a look at the Team of the Week predictions, off the cusp, we can almost certainly say Raheem Sterling will be in there for his. I think
certainly will.
Now I think it's. I don't know if you would agree with me on this, Brad, but this might be the worst perfect hat-trick I've ever seen in my life.
I haven't seen it.
So, he scored a very good goal. The opener was very good. I cannot disagree with that. He scored a curved... if this was FIFA, it's a finesse shot from the left-hand side of the box.
Okay, so that's what he likes to go for quite often. Yeah.
One of those Sterling efforts. But after that, it's a header near the line. Ruben Diaz has done a beautiful ball across from a set piece, and then Sterling's diving headed it in on the line.
Okay.
Sort of thing. It's not going in, but he has to just get any contact on it, and he's there.
Okay.
And then after that, it's a penalty that was then saved, and he's followed up with his
the rebound.
Foot.
Yeah, I heard about the rebound.
It's a rebound with his left. So it's a perfect hat trick, but it might well be the worst perfect hat trick.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, I mean, you do when you hear the words "perfect hat trick." I think you wouldn't imagine it to happen in this style.
No, not a penalty rebound, and not you'd expect better. Games that happened. There was today. Kieran Trippier, I expect to get an inform based off the game I actually did see. He did go off injured, so maybe that'll factor in, but he did get the winning goal as a defender with a fairly, I'm going to say, iffy free kick. It was originally given as a penalty, but it was outside the box to contact. So then that got reset, and it's deflected off Emi Buendia just to go above Emi Martinez, so that Emi's not linking up today. But it went middle of the goal, just above Martinez. It was a bit of a weird one. It was not... I don't think I've actually got any team of the week predictions, so I have to just purely off of it. I would expect a Bochum player because there was an absolute nightmare from your boys over at Bayern. 4-1 down at half time.
Bochum. Yeah.
They
can't tell they were in my accumulator.
To be fair, they had a special card last week. If anyone remembers, Holtman got his Moments card. He was a Bochum player, so they're in decent form based off that. So I don't know who particularly from that team will get it, because obviously there's already been a 74 card for Bochum in the last week. But looking at Premier League results, I'm just going to have to just wing this and go actually manually look up results. So, off the cusp, there was a 1-0 win for Liverpool. Alisson Becker being given man of the match by the fans, but Fabinho scoring, so either of those could be contenders. Leander Dendoncker scoring as well as Jimenez. I don't think 1 goal for Jimenez is enough. This is in the Spurs game, so we just cry over that a bit. But Dendoncker might see an inform. 2-2. There was some controversy in this game. I know Venom's not going to like me talking about this, but there was a late equaliser for West Ham from Craig Dawson. Controversial handball, which it definitely looked like a handball to me. But Jarrod Bowen with a goal and an assist in that game, so there may well be a Jarrod Bowen special card off of that game.
So I'm predicting a Hermoso inform for centre back for
their win for Getafe.
Yeah, he scored a winning goal, and they were down to 10 men as well.
Yeah, that could potentially happen.
Zach Canny for Lazio scored 2 goals, winger, left wing. So that could be one, but I don't know what that would look like.
Marco Reus is in for a shout. He's got 2 goals in a win over Union Berlin. I've just seen. So there might be a Marco Reus special card.
This is the problem with doing this on Sunday.
Yeah, it doesn't have the team of the week prediction, so I'm going to do this manually, and we need to prepare better. But
the good thing though about this is you'll see how accurate we are.
It's very true. Zaccagni, a left winger for Lazio, gets 2 goals.
2 goals. Got a brace. So
you got that.
Venezia won 2-1. Haps also got a goal in that game.
That'd be a card that
would not surprise me to see him get an upgrade and maybe even the featured. I mean,
I'll
tell you what a prediction that would be. That would be incredible.
That would, if he gets featured, then Christ above, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 4-0 Verona. Who would get this in the Verona games? Anyone got a goal and an assist? I can see goal for a couple of people. Has anyone got an assist? Kapari's got a goal and assist in that game. As has Temeze. They're both shouts, but they wouldn't be exactly incredible cards. But they both have a goal and assist. It could happen.
I don't know if you've said this, but Fekir.
No, I hadn't said it.
So he scored a brace for Betis in their 4-2 win.
Obviously earlier this week we've already covered the. Actually, Everton had a decent game.
They did. Their defenders had a decent game.
A goal and an assist.
Yeah, and also Michael Keane and Seamus Coleman scored.
Seamus Coleman bombing forward. I actually did see this the goals in this game. That's one I did see.
It's that's an interesting one in terms of keeping a clean sheet and getting the goals. So you could potentially see one of those two get an inform.
I think they'd be more inclined to give it to someone like Michael Keane rather than a slow right back in Seamus Coleman. No offence.
Especially as there are probably other right backs in other games that we haven't seen that probably did better. Because a lot of teams have a lot more attacking right backs than him, don't they?
But then Keane only has 55 pace this year, so whether he sees it anyway. Brighton with a 2-0 win. Mopé and Webster getting the goals.
Yeah.
Southampton getting a gritty draw against United. And I say gritty, it's been a good week for Southampton, obviously, with the win over Spurs as well. They outshot both teams. So Southampton had more shots than United and Spurs in both games. So maybe that's a team. Well, first, it's a team to keep your eye on in the Premier League. They're in a decent run of form with a win and a draw.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look as well, because I wanted to see when Oyarzabal got his other inform. Team of the week 17. Okay, so he could be on for a third inform. For an 88 rated card. He had a goal and an assist in a 2-0 win. Now that was his goal was a penalty, but he did assist as well. So you never know.
Possibly.
So this is going back to last Thursday, but obviously there was a 1-0 win for Arsenal against Wolves. Gabriel scoring, but a different Gabriel not having such a good day. This is actual discussion point. What is your thoughts on 2 yellow cards in the same move?
As soon as I seen the highlights of it, I think it is deserved, to be fair, because although yes, that it's considered the same phase of play and stuff like that, but the fact that he's done the whole hand to the face or whatever it was in the first instance, and then like gone up the pitch and just literally properly just took them out essentially. Yeah, it's proper aggression. You can't be having that. Can't be.
It's the intent, isn't it? Again, it's that dangerous intent.
Exactly.
Like we talked about it with like.
Well, it's 2 separate yellows, so with a dangerous intent. Obviously, dangerous intent means straight red normally.
It should do. So yeah, essentially, I feel like they would have had the same result.
What, you feel there was a straight red in there?
Well, I think
I wouldn't say that's a straight red.
Do you not feel like it's intent though?
What with which one?
The second.
The second. I was about to say the one to the face would be the one that would be. I'd have thought would have been more closer to a red, but that's not a red. I don't think either of them are a red. I think they're both separate yellow card incidents, which means a red, but not a straight.
Yeah.
I don't think. Like he's cleaned him out, but it's a tactical foul at that point. It's one of those tactical fouls. It's a certain yellow, nothing more. But considering you've already done a yellow in the same phase of play, there's obviously people have found clips where I think it's a Chris Beard one that everyone keeps putting round, going, look, another ref did it once. It's acceptable. And everyone... Basically, the way these arguments pan out is you see on Twitter, Chris Beard clip, a referee's done it before. Oh, but look, here's one highlighted section of a text document. And then someone replies with another highlighted section of the same text document further down. And it's like, oh my god, it's almost like there's so much up for interpretation. Same as with the F1 season ender. Everyone was going, oh look, this clip thing here says that Michael Massey can't override it, and then it says this overrides this. Just agree to disagree. Don't start a whole copy pasta war and then go all over the place. Just move on. It's happened.
At the end of the day, if Arsenal don't agree with it, they can always appeal it at the end of the day. And if then the government body...
And that's then down to them to look into, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know they normally can't get a ban overturned for the 2 yellows, for 2 separate yellows, but I don't know if it's a special circumstances.
Okay. Maybe because of the passage of play thing.
One motion. Yeah. But I know normally 2 yellow ones they can't appeal and get turned over. They can straight reds, but this is a very niche circumstance that you very rarely see. Yeah. But to be fair, it's a nice warning to put out there.
Sets a precedent for future, I guess. It's another way to look at it.
It's a good precedent.
Potentially as well, as we're now looking at current live football. So Espanyol are beating Barcelona 2-1, and Sergi Darder, I think his name is, has scored and assisted Espanyol's goal.
I think he already has been informed this FIFA as Sergi Darder.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he does.
He does. He has an 82.
So that would be
42k right now. So if you have that Sergi Darder, please sell it immediately.
Yeah, please. And if you get him in a draft episode and think he's cheap, don't assume.
Don't select male.
Don't select mailer. Yeah. So he looks like he's on for one, provided that Espanyol see this out. Statistics wise, it looks very much Barcelona, although you'd expect that in terms of possession. The goal attempts and everything seem to be equal. And Marseille have just taken the lead with Milik scoring 2-1. It looks like Marseille are now going to beat Metz away. So potentially there. I don't know whether Malinowski would get one coming on as a sub and scoring the winner if Atalanta see this out.
Yeah,
for a 1-0, especially at home. But yeah.
And also one thing we have to address separately to Team of the Week that wouldn't end in a Team of the Week, but Chelsea did win the Club World Cup in extra time with a Kai Havertz penalty.
Yeah, against
so there's
like
that as a
Palmeiras.
sort of accolade. It was against Palmeiras, yes.
I mean, it's not a real competition.
It's not a real competition. It's still a very big game. Like it's at that point, it is the best of each continent. Yes, you'd argue the European competition to win in itself is more difficult, arguably, than the Club World Cup. They enter straight into the semi-final phase. They don't have to play all the qualification stages, etc.
Yes,
but it's still, they've won the Champions League. They've then had to beat the Europa League champions. So they've beaten the other champions of Europe. Which, how many times have you seen someone from the Europa League? It does happen. Europa League team who won it beats the Champions League team who did it. It's still a trophy as much as the Community Shield's a trophy.
How do you mean? Sorry.
Than the Community Shield. What? Well, it's the winner of the Club World Cup, I believe. I will gladly be corrected if I'm wrong on this. Is the winner of the Super Cup, isn't it?
So they've
no, it's always Champions League winner.
It is the flat out Champions League winner. Okay.
Yeah, so they've played 2 games against Al Hilal and Palmeiras.
Yeah, so it's a semi-final, then a final. But to be fair, I will say the South American clubs always put up a good fight.
Exactly. Last year, Liverpool is what I think of. With, I'm gonna say it was Gabagol doing a good job against them. The former Inter striker.
Yep.
He did a job on their team. But yeah, it's still as much of a trophy as the Community Shield is. Which that's still considered a major honour. So you slander something like a Club World Cup or a Community Shield, there's still trophies to be won. They're still there for a reason.
Yeah. I get it. I just think in terms of the quality of team they're playing, I would have been very surprised for any other result, that's all.
Again, the Brazilian sides do put up a good fight most years, is what I say.
Yeah.
There's a reason Chelsea went to extra time, bear in mind, in this game. This wasn't like a 4-0 whitewash that everyone who looks on FIFA and goes, the Brazilian teams are about 3.5 star on paper, just that's going to be a 4-0 whitewash. It was a 2-1 in extra time after a penalty, no less. Like, they put up a good effort.
Yeah, I mean, so it started in 2000. So Real Madrid have won it 4 times, Barcelona 3 times, Corinthians have won it twice. So it shows that like they do put up a fight. Bayern twice, Liverpool once, Chelsea once, Sao Paulo once, Internacional once, Milan once. So yeah, like South American clubs have won it on 4 times out of the 22. Yeah, okay, the European sides are winning it pretty much predominantly.
Which is what you'd expect, isn't it? I think, like, just given the amount of money that goes into those teams and their leagues and their football compared to these. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is. And as I spoke up about Malinowski maybe not getting one, he definitely isn't now because Danilo's just scored for Juventus.
Danilo's an interesting one to score.
Yeah,
I believe you referred to him when discarding him last week as Danilo Pereira, the PSG man.
Did I?
At one point, yeah. I think when he got selected, like, that's Danilo Pereira. I was like, no, it's not.
No, it's definitely not. Yeah, although he does have an inform. Yeah,
that is
kind of scuppered that one.
Included.
This week in football, roughly. Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Our rough live takes.
Yeah.
Not scripted, not
when
checked,
we come back on a Monday, we'll have somebody else doing the hard graph for us. Cheers, Aaron.
A live hard graph here, but
yeah.
Talking of live opinions.
Yeah.
Let's get the communities.
Right, so I've done GH's suggestion of pinning the questions. So I've got them all in front of me. There is 4 different questions. So I'm going to pick what I feel could be some of the best ones. So I'm going to start with cofters because it sounds quite of an interesting opinion in potentially. So do you think that with the way promos are now, in your opinion, are there way too many or too few? I don't know how you can have too few, especially considering there's no gap pretty much between them. And is the game cycle ending faster than usual? Because obviously a lot of the player base has dropped off quite early this year. But I feel in terms of the game cycle, no, it is not. Well, it could be faster than usual. Depends how quickly we get to these 99 rated cards. But what do you guys think? Is it? Are we going to reach the end of the game cycle quicker than in previous years? Is there too many promos? Is there too few? As Kofta's asking.
The problem is we've addressed, haven't we, that we knew this was going to happen this year. So it's kind of like, do I think there's too many? Potentially. But did we know it was going to happen? Yes. But at the same time, people do like to moan when there's breaks in promos as well. That there's no content and nothing to do. So again, I think that stickler for maybe EA aren't going to win if you had too few or too many. In terms of reaching the game earlier, I think we touched on it earlier in the year when I said the only way you wouldn't get to the end of the cycle early is if they started the cards a lot lower rated than they are, or they broke the barriers of a card being maximum 99 rated and went to like 100 whatever.
If they FIFA mobiled it.
Yeah, basically. Because I think the thing is, with introducing the heroes early, with introducing the numbers up promo where cards are going to get to 99 rated in a stat and things like that, like one thing won't take away from is Team of the Season, because everyone loves Team of the Season and get hyped for it, you know, and we love Team of the Year as well. But I do think that, like, if they wanted to keep it so that you could always keep progressing and the game would always move on and move on and move on. I mean, take for Future Stars, for instance. I know we're in February, but we're looking at 93, 92 rated cards. There's not a lot of movement in those, and these are cards that have had significant boosts from their base card because they're, you know, predictions for what they might eventually end up as in the prime of their career. I don't think they've done too many because I think it was expected. But yes, I think maybe if the idea of starting the players just that little bit lower is one that I think would actually just make people a bit more engaged with this throughout the full year.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Luke?
So I am currently in that weird sort of burnout phase. I've been a bit less involved as I normally would be around normally one of my favourite promos. I'm a bit more lax. I'm a bit more, I don't know, it's because I packed my first team of the year or whether it's just general legitimate burnout, but I'm not as invested as I normally would be around this time of year. Heck, this is one day away from the anniversary of my charity live stream, which obviously for me to be investing in a charity live stream for bloody FIFA puts in perspective how much I wasn't burnt out last year. But even then, the constant promos, I have not been a particular fan of it for a while, considering I did start back on FIFA 12 when it was 3 main promos: Team of the Week, Team of the Year, Team of the Season. The saturation, yes, the thing is, it's a combo of things. Because of so many promos, so many people have access to different promo cards now. Because the previous years, you'd have had someone argue, I can't access the higher cards on FIFA, the proper top tier cards.
Yeah.
Like Neymar would still be about $1 million right now.
Yes.
Stuff like that. Like, this year, he's what, 250k now? Something like that. Maybe even less than that now, I think. But you've got more accessibility to the top cards that you want to grind all year for, and that availability of those sort of cards, or really top tier promo cards outside of, say, a wild card Ibra or like Ronaldo's or things like that, you've got a lot more accessibility to them cards, and that is then going to have people grinding for less cards and not grinding as much as they would, because they've got so many. Arguably, this FIFA has given you the most options of any FIFA, of any special card, any position, any sort of league. You've got the most options, so you've got less to grind for. Really, is how I see it. So, it's the vast array of options they've given us with said promos is actually taking away from the grind as much, because of how cheap they are compared to the market, compared to what other things already are. So suddenly, it's either a fun card's gonna be incredibly overpriced if it's suddenly 500k to 700k.
Yeah.
Because you go, oh, this looks like a fun left wing card. Oh, I could get Neymar. Oh, I could get this as an option that's already there, and you're less likely to grind for said card.
Yeah.
Or you think it's a bit too much of a faff, and you've already got your team, you're settled on it, and then you only upgrade certain things every now and then. Like, you have to really restrict yourself in order to actually hit, like, to keep playing FIFA and to keep going on.
Yeah.
You always have to restrict yourself, which is arguably why, and this is gonna, I think, be a hot take, this is why it's actually beneficial that rival rewards weren't as good, because at least you weren't constant. Imagine if pack rewards had been better and you had more coins available. Would those cards have been that much more expensive, or would that you'd have more opportunities to pack them? Arguably, so the market could be, arguably, depending on how you view it, in an even worse state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, weirdly, I think curbing the rivals rewards actually might have been a vague benefit. Looking back, the market's already screwed. But if we had previous year's rivals rewards of this market,
could you imagine what would happen?
Can you imagine what would be the situation now?
But then again, rival rewards is pretty much, most people go for untradeable, so I don't think it really would truly affect the market. I think what they've done now is, obviously, it was untradeable and coins, and I think that coins side of things is the bit that could affect the market, because it gives people that little bit extra to be able to go out and buy things a bit more easily. And I think now that they're taking the coins away, maybe that might help, because it takes that flexibility of just easily going out as much to buy what you want off the market. But also touching about what you're saying about the price of Neymar. So I've looked it up, 180k for Neymar now on PlayStation, and there is only 4 players over 100k now. There is Cristiano Ronaldo at 149k, Neymar, which we just said, Messi at 252k, and Mbappe, who just is in class of his own in terms of price, 914k. So there's no one over a mil, but it's only essentially 4 players are over 100k, and 2 of those are just over 250k.
Yep.
So,
which is mad, right?
Yeah.
It's mad.
It is mad. It is that. I would almost class, apart from Mbappe, which would be lower, team of the season prices realistically.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
those sort of players.
I'm trying to think when I packed Messi. I think it was during team of the season. He's not even worth the 100k pack I got him from.
No, exactly. So it's around that time that they become fodder.
And upgraded the Messi, which the fact that at one point in my squad building career, I can say I packed Messi and upgraded it to the inform because I had the coins to.
Yeah,
that was when I was stupid with my Vieira money. But yeah, I think the current state of the market's not been helped by the constant promos.
But I feel, as a content creator, for instance, and what I normally like, this is the time of the year that I start changing my team on a weekly basis. Like, because I just want to try out all these different cards, and I think now I've got even more access to different cards that I can try out and build more fun like squads, like we were saying about the Liga NOS and how cheap players are there. But obviously I can mix that up with like the main leagues because of how like they're almost, some of them are the similar prices to the Liga NOS players.
Yeah.
But obviously you got those players that are in a class of their own. And I think now looking at the promo players, say for instance this current promo in the Team 2, we're actually starting to see a few more players actually being over that 100k mark. Because like when you look back to rule breakers and stuff, there was only like two or three players over that 100k mark. Now we've got like 5, 6, 7 players over that sort of 100k mark, which is.
But also then I think that does sort of go with the promo a little bit. I mean, like I know a lot of people that do. They say like Future Stars is their favourite promo. Like, and it is. I've got to admit, like outside of Team of the Year. So let's say outside of Team of the Year and Team of the Season, it is my favourite promo. The only one, like I said before, that I liked a little bit more, like, not more, but that I liked on par was Shapeshifters. Only because it gives you something a little bit different in terms of using, a player completely different on the pitch, which I think is always a fun. But yeah, so that's why I think.
FUT Birthday. For me, FUT Birthday is my one. As I say, a long time player, the nostalgia players coming back. Always hits me in the feels. Every time I see a centre mid Florenzi, I'm like, I was like that since FIFA 16. You know me well, EA. You know me well.
Yeah, I'd say FUT Birthday's up there for me as well, because that's the times when you like see someone like a Sane or a Royce or something like that being released. Like, there's always a guaranteed player from a previous FIFA that you've enjoyed that gets released in that promo.
Can I ask as well though, do you think, like, I know you're talking about the nostalgia side of it, but do you think it has as big effect when they're now upgrading skill moves and stuff of other players as well?
I mean,
do you think it's taken a little bit of an edge off it?
What, off FUT Birthday? No.
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
Players generally do need a rework on things like that mid-year, I think. So if suddenly, so even with Team of the Week, you could do that. So say, think of a one-footed player, Steven Bergwijn. If Bergwijn scores with his weak foot twice, and they don't upgrade his weak foot, you're like, come on now. Like, clearly he's not a 2-star weak foot if he scored 2 goals with it.
Is he a bit like that, not given like Ward Prowse 99 on free kicks kind of scenario, isn't it?
Ish. I mean, you don't want to just slap something straight to 99.
No.
Like, if you don't want to just suddenly see Team of the Week turn into I'm going to hand out 99 stats, because then it's a weekly promo that's gone from being... I mean, it would go back to its FIFA 12 days, which is what I've always wanted, but the FIFA 12 days, you had
to you could get excited about packing a Team of the Week.
Because there was nothing else.
Yeah.
It was Team of the Week through to January, then you got Team of the Years, then Team of the Week through to about April, May, Team of the Season. Like that was FIFA up to FIFA 15. And then FIFA 16 promos came in more and more. Like, I remember when you used to have random promo packs and there was just Team of the Week. And that you'd have like 35k packs in store or something like, or 50k packs in store for just Team of the Week.
Yeah.
Those were the days of when things were just... imagine spending money back then on stuff like that. That's like... Well...
Yeah, now it would be unheard of, yeah.
That would be unheard of. If you just go, oh, there's an informed Messi this week. Oh, send the club. No, no one would do that. Obviously, back in the day, people would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
But that just shows how FIFA's changed and how FIFA's, depending on how you view it, developed or regressed, whoever you ask. But that's sort of a sign of the times.
And then going to quickly touch up on GH's question again, which is if you could travel back in time and visit your younger self, what piece of life advice would you give yourself and why? Now, obviously, we partially discussed this in the Discord about like how in some ways you would more go with something that financially benefits you, because obviously money is life essentially, because money rules everything, because you know, it pays for the house you live in, pays for the food, you know, it pays for everything. So money rules things, and obviously if you could just make it life easier by putting a bet on or winning the lottery, giving yourself those numbers so you can make your life more comfortable. Obviously most people would say that, but if we took away that side of things, what would you maybe say instead?
Yeah, so the bit in there, I suppose, is life advice, isn't it? It's not like, would you go back and tell yourself the lottery numbers or whatever like that? You know, it's talking about what would you do to maybe just change what you've done in your lifetime, not like I can see into the future kind of thing. Mine would probably be like going back to like looking at education. Like I wasn't one that ever really took school that seriously. I wasn't one that failed or anything. I got good GCSEs, I got A levels, I got accepted to uni but didn't go. So that would probably be where I'm at. I'd probably maybe, because you know, I think the thing is as well, back then, like you know, not that it's unrealistic or anything, but I was very much more into my creative side, enjoyed my music, so I did music tech as an A level, and I wanted to be a record producer. That was what I wanted to do when I was at school. Realistically, as you get older and realise, one, how very unlikely it is to be able to break into that business unless you live in certain areas or have certain connections and things, I would probably have looked at maybe doing a more realistic vocab, like just something, a vocation rather, sorry, like something that like is real world practice. Like I maybe would have said to myself like, oh, do you know what, if you could really get into engineering, like do it, because you'll be set for life, or something like that, you know. Something that would have still piqued my interests, like maybe something a bit artistic, but yeah, I it's just something I would probably not I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't have been as much to be like try harder at school, because I didn't, like I say, I didn't, it's not like I didn't try hard, I still achieved and stuff and that. It's just that the subjects I did don't now mean anything to the current job I do, and it's not too late for anybody that wants to do education in their later years, but it certainly makes it tougher when you've got bills to pay, when you've got mortgages, when you've got kids, when you've got all these other things. You know, it's not quite as easy to just suddenly now go, hey, I'm going to go back to Open University and learn to do this at the age of 36, you know.
Luke, you got any?
Well, I've got two. One's deep, one's not as deep. One is just tell myself to be more outgoing. Like I really have sort of not fallen back into my own shell, but like I should have been a lot more outgoing in like prior years. But the other one is one that I still hold against my family, and that's insisting on saying goodbye to my nan. They refused to let me. They made me go watch football instead.
Okay.
I knew I couldn't. I wanted to go in there, but they did not let me.
How old are you?
This was 2006. Okay. So, it was the World Cup that was ongoing at the time in Germany, and I had to watch a group game rather than that. So I wanted closure. I don't have that closure. I've since told them I do hold this against you.
Yeah.
I resent you for this. Like, you did not grant me the closure that I still want on this matter.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would say kick up a fuss.
How do they feel about you having that reaction to that as well?
Well, they didn't know until about last year. They thought it would scar me. They were trying to protect me, and I didn't want protecting. I was very close to my nan, and I wanted closure.
Yes.
Even at that age, which I'd have been about 10.
Which I think. So this is the thing. So you at 10, you're old enough to understand. I get what they're saying about when you talk about like the closeness of it, because that means you obviously had a very, very special bond there, which is why they didn't want to maybe, you know, worry about damaging you. But at the same time, it's damage in a different way, like you say, in not being able to have a closure with someone that you were close to. So yeah, I definitely can see why you have resentment over that, and I think at that age, I don't know obviously what discussions would have been had between parents and things at that age, but I think there should have been maybe a bit more of a discussion about like that he's old enough to maybe that he is certainly old enough to comprehend death. I'm sure. Did you have any pets and things that had...
Yeah. I had pets.
So
I was the only member of the family that was not allowed in there, which sucked.
And that's even worse. That's not like
my brother who was he would have been 16. Yeah.
See, they maybe could have looked at they maybe could have looked
at
at him at 16 to have been like your biggest person for guidance or your go-to person in that scenario, so that they didn't have to do it if it was hard for them as well. So that like Big Brother was able to just sort of be there by your side, so that if you did find it difficult, then he could take you out.
Well, it's the fact that I was just sitting in the hospital waiting room. Like that was the thing. Like I'd been in to see her a couple of days beforehand. I'd been in there, but like that day they said that it was going to be like they said what was exactly going to happen. They're going to turn off the life support, and even I at that age I knew what that meant.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me in there, and they didn't. I just wish I kicked up more of a fuss, but I've since told them I resent you for this, and they understand, but they then tried to say, look, the situation room was this, and I was like, I know, but I told you and you ignored it.
Yeah, they're going to have their counter argument that they felt like they were protecting you, but yeah, I think it's good that you're able to communicate with them now, obviously how you felt about it and what you feel like it's actually, that it still weighs on heavy on your mind. It's just one, it's a horrible thing that you now feel like you don't have closure.
I mean, I feel almost similar with my gran, for instance, and the fact that I never got to go to her funeral, for instance. Kind of bothers me that I never got to do that, because in some ways that's the opportunity to say last goodbyes to her, but I never got that. But in terms of for myself, and the problem is, if I went back in time and said this piece of advice to my younger self, it would be a butterfly effect, and I wouldn't be in the situation that I am today. And I don't want to trade in what I've got today in some ways.
Yep,
so
I know what you mean.
I think in some ways I'll probably just go to my younger self and say, you know, like, yes, the time ahead is going to be tough, but you'll get out of that tunnel and have the brilliant adult life that you get to have, the wife and the kids and stuff like that. And basically that's because obviously my bit of advice would be, if I was to have the butterfly effect, it would be to go back in time to when I was about, I think I was about 9, and my parents were getting divorced, and the solicitor asked me which parent would you rather live with, and I said my dad, and it ended up being the worst decision possible for me and my sister, basically.
Okay.
So, and that decision then knocked on and pretty much meant that my teenage years were probably the worst years of my life in some ways. But yeah, I'm obviously out of that, and I'm happy with what I've got now. But I don't want to. Obviously, I don't want to. Yeah, don't want to go down that route on the podcast and stuff. Right, we want to have fun and topical discussions and stuff like that. So
exactly.
I think we'll leave
it at
that.
I think Brad's one for a more fun one is he'd just not pick Pats and Dak as winter wildcards. That's what he'd tell himself.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah, had I have known that EA will just continue to be EA, I'd have got the packs.
You were younger then.
Yeah.
You should have known better.
I should have, yeah. I was only 35 then, 36 now.
Yeah,
but you knew
you're wiser for it. You're wiser for it.
Yeah, I am.
But
yeah.
Do you know what? Actually, I think we'll quickly touch on one more. I think just because it's going to be a real quick one, because that leads on is Venom did mention the most expensive card that you've bought that you regret buying. Also SBC wise, so obviously Pats and Daka is a big regret, possibly in that vein. Do any of you have a quick one just to touch off on that?
CR7 because of the tax, because again, like I say, don't seem to get on with the high end cards. I don't know what it is about me and the high end card, like gold rare cards. Like I think it was FIFA 19, brought a CR7, 10 games later selling it, got the tax. You know, don't want to be making silly mistakes like that again. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not too much in bothered about the tax. Yeah, SBCs wise, Probably Daka, although technically I've still got to spend coins now if I wanted to have him in my team. I did him because he looked like a fun card at the time. Oh wow, that's the first time that's happened. And yeah, I think then coins wise, I haven't really ever bought any with coins. My worst thing for coins is sinking coins into whatever pack I had to do to get Kika Casillas.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think mine might have been deciding to do Luke Bacchio one year. This FUT card was pretty bad. I decided to just try it out. But I've forgiven him. His more recent winter card's been good, as far as I can see. But in terms of investment, it's pretty much any I make at the moment. Just it's best if I just leave the investing to everyone else, because mine just always seem to backfire. Buy Atletico Madrid players, the live Griezmann card, the pool cards. I still have those pool cards because they're not going above 15k, and I refuse to sell them because I'm an idiot and thought Atletico Madrid would win 5 games.
Yeah.
What a fool! What a fool!
We all make mistakes.
But
We do.
yeah. But that is it for the Q&A, guys. Thank you for submitting your questions, and if you want to submit questions in future weeks, please feel free to join our Discord. Link is down below, along with all our other socials and the FSB sites, YouTube channel, shall I say, and the Twitter link as well. So feel free to drop us follows. But thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast, and guys, thank you for being on the podcast as always.
No problem at all.
Always a pleasure.
And hopefully we'll get a guest on soon as well, so we can add some more opinions to the podcast, because that would be great. But thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye.
Cheers, guys.